Hey, it's Zadie! Welcome to Flytte Kartina, where you can come to get quality entertainment. Just kidding, that's not what I actually do here. This last week, I watched The Greatest Showman. I'll give you guys the meaning of the rating of the movie, which is completely spoiler-free. Then I'll move on to the spoiler rant, where I go on and on and on and on and on about whether I liked or disliked the movie. Here we go. The Greatest Showman is rated by the MPAA a PG because of thematic elements, including a brawl. Oh man, guys, there's a brawl in there. Better watch out because there is a brawl in this movie. Please, I'm just being overdramatic. Remember my definition for thematic elements? Thematic elements are elements associated with this movie that may or may not be ethical in this day and age. This definition is still relevant to this movie. Man, I am good. I think the thematic elements in The Greatest Showman are pretty minimal. Obviously, there are some images that are a little bit frightening. There's a woman who nearly falls off of a rooftop, circus acts that are kind of a little bit disturbing. There's also some political stuff in there. There's a brawl. The costumes in there are a little on the low side, and a near-death scene. Those things are not bad in terms of what they could have done. I mean, think about Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Jumanji. Those are two movies that could basically hop over to the PG-13 side of things. Next, we have the brawl. Can you tell that this is my favorite part of the rating? Honestly, whenever I see something that specific in an MPAA rating, I laugh. It's just so funny. I mean, in the MPAA, they just decided, they're like, all right, thematic elements, we've got that down. What are we gonna say for the brawl? Sir, I have you right there. Let's just call it a brawl. That is what it is, and we are going to put that in the official rating. Yes, I agree. This is top thinking we've got here. The brawl is self-explaining and hilarious, but I need to clarify this because, yeah. Basically, the brawl happens between two opposing parties, which ultimately gets one of the party's characters hurt severely. This is the most intense scene that applies to the movie, and I can't really say anything else without spoiling. So on the frequency scale, which I'll pull up right here, I'll rate this movie a 3. Just because there wasn't anything that bad in it. The stuff in there wasn't the worst things ever. You have no idea how happy I was when I figured out that this movie was rated PG. On to the magical scale of movies. Taking into account the rating and what I've seen in the movie, I'm gonna rate The Greatest Showman as a Tangled. So if you know what Tangled is like, you'll get a little bit of a feel for what The Greatest Showman is like in terms of whether you might want to see it or not. I'm so happy about this. I'm just gonna go into the spoiler rant, and if you guys are done watching me, then bye. But if you're gonna keep watching me, just beware there are spoilers. If you want to watch me freak out about the movie, then you could stay with me. This is the last I'll see you. Have a great day and stay warm. That was my non-spoiler review of The Greatest Showman. See you guys later. I am so pumped for this! Unfortunately, I need to go through the stuff that I didn't like about the movie because who wants to end on a negative note, so I'll save this energy for later. So the first thing I didn't like was Zac Efron. Honestly, I expected so much more from him. I got nostalgia from his High School Musical days and the Hairspray days. I was all like, oh, it's so cool to see him doing another Broadway production sort of thing, and with singing and dancing, and then he goes and kind of just doesn't fit. Don't get me wrong, he's a great actor, and there were moments that I was like, yes, this is great, I love this. But I didn't think he was the right fit for this role. He definitely had the look of Philip Carlyle, but I don't think he was the right fit for this role. I mean, he definitely looked the part, but I wasn't very convinced that he came from money and that he sacrificed all of this to go and partner up with P.T. Barnum. One thing that was distracting was the costuming. Letty Letts, for instance, she had this amazing ball gown on for performances and for attending events, but the dress was very low cut, and it was just distracting for me. Low cut dresses in anything are just really distracting for me, and I didn't really see the point in doing that. It didn't allow me to fully enjoy the film in those moments. Also, Philip's costume for the last scene where he takes the cane and he's like, yes, this is my show now, and he goes to perform the number. The costume that he wore looked like it came from Party City. No offense to the costumers, they did what they did, but I think it was a bad choice. Also, there was no spark between Zendaya and Wheeler and Zac Efron, Philip Carlyle. Those two didn't have a lot of chemistry or anything. I mean, you can tell that they're romantically interested. Zac did a good job with micro-expressions, but it didn't really mix well with Zendaya. Enough with this negative stuff, I'm done saying all that. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I don't have a lot of stuff to say about this movie negatively, so don't sue me. Okay, the beginning was one of the best things ever. It started out as a love story between Barnum and Charity, and I think that was beautiful. The fruits of their love brought out two beautiful daughters and an entire circus. I love that it took him years to develop his ideas, because that's actually what happens in real life, you guys. I love it that his daughters developed the ideas about the circus. That was incredible, and I love that family aspect. Also, the actor who played the young version of P.T. Barnum had an incredible voice. Just putting that out there. The scene of introduction for each of the acts was fast and quick and fun, just the way I like it. And for the opening number, I love that a lot too. I think it really just kind of introduced all the acts very nicely and cleanly, professionally. I was very satisfied with all of them. I thought it was really fun to see that. All of the songs and dance numbers were just amazing. I was so happy, and this film made me smile the entire time, just like it wanted the audience to do. There were so many things going on at once during some of the performances, but it was an amazing show, and you could tell what the central part of the show was. Excellent choreography, and I will be buying the soundtrack. On to Hugh Jackman. He's an amazing performer. Everything he did was so spectacular and real. Something about it just kind of made me believe that he was the real P.T. Barnum. Someone mentioned something about Jackman reading over 36 books about P.T. Barnum just to prepare for his role, and it was so worth it. His dancing was so natural, and it was convinced me that he was the real P.T. Barnum, and no one would tell me otherwise. Thank you, Hugh Jackman. Okay, there's a small thing that happened, but I like it a lot. When Barnum sees that the press thinks that he has this sort of scandal with Jenny Lind, he goes back to his wife. The scene between Barnum and Charity is incredible. But what was important to me is how they looked physically. Barnum comes running from the museum where he's soiled and dirty from the fire that happened the night before, and Charity is very nicely dressed and, ready to leave, which is sad, but she's nicely dressed and very clean looking. And this parallels with how we first meet Barnum and Charity. How we first see the two lovers in the beginning of the movie, where Charity comes from old money and Barnum has nothing. I just loved that symbolism. Also, Charity didn't leave Barnum because she was upset that he was unfaithful. She left him because she knew that he didn't love her the way that she knew that he loved her. Completely separated from the scandal itself. I just love that. I thought that was beautiful. Last thing, I promise, the side characters kind of stole the show. I mean, if you think about it, the two Barnum sisters were cute and adorable, and they basically made the movie possible. The bartender was an incredible asset. I mean, who would leave the bar open for just two guys to do a dance number about a contract? There was one dancer that I couldn't take my eyes off the entire time during the performances and ensemble dances. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, question of the week is, what would your circus act be in Barnum's circus? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. Have a happy Random Thursday. See you on the other side of the screen. Bye!